Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. With so many brands competing for a place on your wrist, choosing the right smartwatch for yourself is kind of a tricky job these days. Here in Nepal too, the entry of companies like Amazfit, Fitbit, High Future and Mobvoi is sure to ruffle some feathers. Anyways, for the past 2 months, I have been using the Mobvoi Ticwatch GTX as my primary smartwatch. I also noticed that many of you guys in the comment section asked me which smartwatch I was using. So here it is. This is the Mobvoi Ticwatch GTX. It is a budget smartwatch from the company that retails for just $60 abroad. But unfortunately, the Ticwatch GTX costs 7,000 rupees in India and 10,000 here in Nepal. So yeah, the local pricing really sucks. But even so, it still looked like a decent budget fitness tracker to me, so I got one for myself. And in this video, I will be talking about the Mobvoi Ticwatch GTX at length. Let's begin. Starting with the design, right off the bat, I can see that it is a well-built smartwatch. The GTX manages to stand out because of its metal body. The watch is pretty lightweight, and throughout my usage of around 2 months, I am yet to notice any sort of discomfort. The TPU strap also feels surprisingly nice, and similarly, the buttons on the side have a pretty nice feel and the feedback is great too. You get a power button with a nice red accent at the top, which also takes you to the home screen and acts as a function menu. On the other hand, the other button launches the workout options. Using this, you can also start or end a particular exercise. Overall, the Mobvoi Ticwatch GTX has a good generic design with mirroring build quality. Plus, its IP68 certification means you can take it out on a swim without a care as well. But because of its bulky look and sporty design, I feel like this watch is more geared towards the male demographic. Then again, if you're okay with how it looks and how it is shaped, I think this one's definitely something you should consider. Now moving on to the display side of things, there is nothing much to complain about here, especially considering the price. It has a 1.28 inches TFT color screen in a classic circular layout. Mobvoi is not offering any level of Gorilla Glass protection on this display, and neither does it support always on display. So although it may be able to handle a few scratches or impacts, I wouldn't leave it to chances because during my usage, my unit has already developed a couple of scratches. Anyway, even though the Ticwatch GTX has a good enough display, I do have a minor complaint. With this measly 240 by 240 resolution, things tend to look a bit pixelated. I am not asking for an AMOLED panel here, but Mobvoi could most definitely have provided a sharper display. Likewise, you can choose from 4 levels of brightness, and I do not have a problem with the visibility indoors, but under direct sunlight, this TFT panel shows its nature. Even at the maximum level of brightness, I would have to shed the display to actually be able to make out the content on the screen. More on the design, there's also a tachymeter watch bezel that surrounds the display. In addition, the Ticwatch GTX comes loaded with around 23 watch faces by default. It all boils down to personal preference, but in my judgment, I feel like the provided options are fairly well designed. But if you want something more, Mobvoi also lets you set custom watch faces. With this, you can make your wallpapers or other personal photos as a watch face too. Okay, now allow me to briefly go through its UI and UX. You can access the quick toggle menu by swiping down from the home screen. Here you'll be able to access various functions like power saver mode. Similarly, all the incoming notifications are sorted on the bottom panel, which can be accessed by swiping up. You can receive notifications from different messaging apps or other regular apps on the screen. However, these are non-actionable and you cannot reply to messages from the watch itself. Moreover, accessing the exercise menu, sleep tracking and heart rate monitoring features is fortified with a swipe to the right. Likewise, to access various functions and initial pairing and setting up, you will need to download the Mobvoi app to your phone. I have to tell you that it does take a while for first-time pairing. During my time, this watch was able to maintain a strong connection with the phone even between rooms, all thanks to the Bluetooth 5.0 it has. But in case the connection gets lost, it automatically reconnects once the two devices are in range. However, I have to mention that on multiple occasions, the watch would abruptly disconnect with my phone, and I would have to therefore open the Mobvoi app again for reconnection. So maybe the company could push an update to fix this blaring issue very soon. Contrary to other mainstream Mobvoi TicWatches, it does not run on Google's Wear OS platform. Instead, Mobvoi ships the watch with its in-house Mobvoi OS. For what it's worth, it's a very basic app and I think it should have been more optimized than what it is. But then again, I guess it is okay for a starter smartwatch. Actually, the shortcomings of it mainly originate from the app itself. For instance, even for such a minuscule task like changing the watch face, it takes around 2 to 3 minutes to sync up. And like I mentioned earlier, the issue of frequent disconnection means that you're prone to miss your calls, messages, and notifications, thus defeating the purpose of wearing a smartwatch in the first place. Also, even though I've turned on the feature which should remind me to take a walk every 2 hours, it does not actually work every time. Okay, so criticisms aside, the Mobvoi app or the Mobvoi OS is not entirely terrible though, and it does have a few redeeming qualities. For instance, all the recorded health data like weekly, monthly exercise, sleep monitoring, etc. are neatly arranged and are easy to read. With this, anyone could effortlessly understand their health stats. And many people had asked me on Instagram whether you can view the contents of your gallery on the smartwatch or pick up calls on this. But the unfortunate answer to both these questions is no. This watch does not have an inbuilt microphone, so picking up calls is entirely out of question. Now getting to health and fitness tracking, the Mobvoi Ticwatch GTX has an accelerometer and a heart rate sensor, but sadly it does not have an inbuilt GPS. These sensors work together to offer a total of 14 workout modes, including walking, cycling, swimming, rowing, basketball, soccer, among a few. Furthermore, it also supports 24/7 heart rate tracking and sleep monitoring. And in the process of reviewing the Ticwatch GTX, I also compared it against the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2, which we all know is one hell of a smartwatch. I continually compared the two smartwatches for a week straight and found that the GTX overcompensates the number of steps by a fair amount. The difference between the two is not that huge though. The Ticwatch GTX recorded around 500 steps more than the Galaxy Watch Active 2, and apparently it also records your sleep time slightly extravagantly as well. While the Watch Active 2 managed to accurately track my time to bed, sleep time, and the time I got up, the one from Mobvoi records inaccurately with some 30 minutes of difference. Moving on, the heart rate monitoring, on the other hand, is fairly similar in both. Yet, the Ticwatch GTX does not come with other premier features like blood oxygen monitoring, which is a slight bummer in my opinion, because other cheaper smartwatches like Honor Band 5, Honor Band 6, and the Realme Watch come with SpO2 tracking. Additionally, you can set timers on each exercise too, so you can undergo a more controlled degree of workout. Despite all this, the Ticwatch GTX is incapable of automatically detecting your workouts, so you will need to manually start a session from the watch or end it once your exercise ends. Now let me talk about the battery life on this thing, and let me just tell you that battery endurance is one of the best things about the smartwatch. With a 200 mAh cell, Mobvoi claims up to 7 days of battery life under regular use and 3 days more with power saving mode turned on. In my use, I kept the 24/7 heart rate monitoring on, and with that I got around 6 to 7 days of battery endurance. Okay, coming to charging, you get a 2-point proprietary magnetic charger for this smartwatch inside the box. It takes around 2 hours to fully juice up the GTX. In conclusion, the Mobvoi Ticwatch GTX is a decent entry in the budget smartwatch market. Its display, design, and all the assorted functions work well enough. The only complaint that I have with it is that it does not have an SpO2 sensor, which is something that even budget smartwatches have. Also, I wish the company improved on the app a little bit and makes it a bit more optimized to work with, which I think is possible with an update or two. And one more thing, as I said in the beginning, the Mobvoi Ticwatch GTX cost is $60 abroad, but it is priced excessively in markets like Nepal and India. This would have been a perfect smartwatch if it was priced slightly lesser. As a result, there is plenty of room for competition to swoop in and capitalize on Mobvoi's pricing strategy. So that was all for our review of the Ticwatch GTX after using it for around 2 months. We're coming up with a content regarding the best smartwatches that you can buy in every price range. It should be up really soon, so stay tuned for that. Till then, I'm Pratima and thank you so much for watching.